Welcome in, everyone, to Game Day on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. It's our Game Day edition of Football 24/7 with John McMullen, who again finds himself along with the team on the road for week number 8, checking in live from Ford Field with our pregame update, all presented by Stateside Vodka. Johnny Mac, a good Sunday morning to you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys? A little interesting news on the inactive front for both teams.
Good stuff. Let's jump right into it. Who's in, who's out? Start with the Lions and then finish up on the Bird side.
Well, for the Lions, Jamal Williams, one of their sort of 1-2 punch with their running backs, DeAndre Swift, he's not going to play.
Wow.
So that really limits, the Lions from a playmaker standpoint are pretty limited to begin with. And it was kind of DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, TJ Hawkinson. They have trouble getting the ball outside the numbers. So now you're talking about DeAndre Swift, who's a Philly kid, obviously everybody knows. TJ Hawkinson, who's a great tight end. So that's a big injury for the Lions. And they're also missing A.J. Parker's one of those rookie corners that has been playing a lot, mainly in the slot. So they're even that much further down the depth chart there. So Lions are struggling. We know the Eagles are struggling in their own rights. From their perspective, a lot of the guys, Anthony Harris was doubtful, so it's no surprise he's not playing again. Kayvon Wallace is back off injured reserve, so he'll get in the mix with Rodney McLeod, Marcus Epps, but Eric Wilson is a healthy scratch. So at linebacker, you're talking about a guy who was really the Eagles' top linebacker coming into the season from a playing standpoint perspective. He has slowly lost playing time over the past number of weeks, and now essentially he's been benched and he's not going to play at all. And obviously things have not gone as the Eagles would have liked at the linebacker position.
Is the Eric Wilson scratch today, Johnny Mack, an indication that we may see some adjustments from the defensive side of the football this afternoon?
Well, seen that coming with Davion Taylor slowly getting more and more snaps as he returned from the calf injury. That'll only get ramped up. So instead of sort of a 4-man rotation, which is what the Eagles have been going with, now it'll be a 3-man rotation. Alex Singleton, TJ Edwards, the other linebackers. But when you talk about the passing game, you have to wonder who are the two linebackers going to be on the field. Typically it was Eric Wilson and Alex Singleton. Now it's going to be Alex Singleton and somebody else. Kind of pick your poison with Davion Taylor and TJ Edwards. But clearly the Eagles are not happy with the way Eric Wilson has played through the first 7 games of this season.
I want to get you to react to your buddy Paul Domowitz, who on Eagles Report on Philly Mag, and if you have not been to, or if you have not consumed Eagles Report on Philly Mag with John McMullen and then Paul Domowitz doing a Friday report every Friday leading into game day, it's an absolute must. Check out the Eagles Report with John McMullen. Johnny Mac, Paul Domowitz tweeted this morning, beware of second down today in the game. The Raiders averaged 9 yards a pop on second down last week. 14 of their 23 first downs versus the Eagles came on that second down.
Yeah, the Eagles were very disappointed, and they always talk about situational football, and rightfully so, because that's kind of where you win and lose games in the NFL. I think the biggest disappointment from Jonathan Gannon's standpoint out in Las Vegas, where you couldn't even get the Raiders in third downs for a big part of the game. It was first or second down, and they would convert mainly on second down, as Damo pointed out. And that's your whole goal of defense, get people in third and long, try to get off the field. Now, everybody had a big problem with the Nick Sirianni fumbling of the 4th and 3, and they ultimately gave up a 3rd and 15 when he took a penalty. Probably should have allowed, not probably, definitely should have allowed the Raiders to punt. But that's the circumstance you do want. 3rd and 15. The Eagles can't get in those situations to start developing a way to get off the field defensively.
So a live pregame report with the NFL insider John McMullen, who, of course, is reporting from Ford Field, where the temperature is a little bit chillier than John had anticipated.
Well, that's outdoors. We're indoors. I'm fine indoors, but outdoors, getting to the stadium, a little bit chilly.
Getting to the stadium.
I didn't go with the jacket. I should have went with the jacket. I believe the weather forecast.
Yeah, it's temperature controlled inside Ford Field. Eagles 2-5, the Lions 0-7. Johnny Mac, what will that winless team in Detroit? What will they do in terms of game planning against the Eagles? How will Detroit game plan against the Eagles?
It's a good question. I mean, when you talk about teams that are 0-7, you kind of saw it last week with Detroit. They played the Los Angeles Rams. And there comes with sort of a desperation at being in that type of circumstance. And last week it showed when they're trying, I believe they had a couple fake punts. They converted an onside kick. So they were pulling out all the stops to try to beat the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the Rams are a very good football team. Here, they believe they have a chance to beat the Eagles. They believe they have a chance to get off their snide. But anytime you're playing a team that, look, the playoffs are not in the equation. We all know what they are as far as being one of the bottom teams in the NFL. The one positive of that, it gives you a little bit more freedom to be uber aggressive, super aggressive, whatever you want to call it. You might see a lot of 4th down tries. You might see some more fake plays, trying to get over the hump, and that in turn, that makes things more difficult for the Eagles, who are struggling themselves. And let's face it, if they lose this game, I don't want to beat Nick Sirianni.
Johnny Mac, offensively for the Eagles, and right you are, sir. Offensively for the Eagles, Miles Sanders, of course, on IR. What's the adjustment that will be made for Miles this week? And we may have actually lost Johnny Mac, who was checking in. Now we got him back. Johnny Mac, you temporarily dropped out there, brother. I don't know if you heard my question. Looking for the adjustment on offense for the Eagles with Miles Sanders now on the injured reserve.
Yeah, I mean, Miles is going to be out, obviously, for the next 3 games at least. And it's supposed to be pretty close to that. So he's not supposed to be out for a significant portion of time. But obviously, we've talked about the running game a lot. Now it's going to be interesting to see what the Eagles do. In game, when they lost Miles Sanders, they should have sort of just went to Kenny Gainwell. I'm not sure he should be the volume runner. I think they kind of learned that in Las Vegas. So I do think maybe you have a similar setup to what you had with Miles, only with Boston Scott being in that running back 1 position and Kenny Gainwell staying in his 3rd down pass receiving, hurry up mode. Jordan Howard also elevated from the practice squad, so he'll get involved for the first time this season. But obviously you don't have the explosion. Now, critics will say the Eagles weren't using Miles Sanders anyway, and that's fair at times, but obviously not having him on the field is going to be difficult to replace.
Last thing from you, Johnny Mac. As you know, I chart every play during the game, and I've added an element to my makeshift chart that I picked up from Football 24/7, and that is your reference to guts of the game. You always talk about guts of the game. Clarify that for me. Are you where is the guts of the game? Are you talking about second, third, or what are you talking about specifically?
Well, generally it can be anywhere in the game, but it's got to be, within a one-score game. So we've talked about how the Eagles can put up some numbers when they're down 2 or 3 scores late in games, and all of a sudden you pick up the box score after the game. Las Vegas being a perfect example. They go up 7-0. They give up 30 unanswered points, and all of a sudden it's 30-7. The game is over. Uh, the stat sheet, if you stopped it right there, looks terrible, and they're able to put up some points in yardage and garbage time, and it doesn't look that bad after the game. But bottom line, it's not meaningful. It's not meaningful to me. I know it's not meaningful to the Eagles, and it shouldn't be meaningful to the fan base. Look, when you're in a game and it's a one-score game, and you're putting up and you're making significant plays, whether they're offense or defense, that's more important. Think about it from an NBA perspective. If you're up 40 and the other team and that team takes the foot off the gas, and you're the losing team, end up losing the game by 14, 15 points, it doesn't mean you were in the basketball game.
Good stuff from John McMullen. We'll effort and attempt to check back in at halftime from Ford Field. And then, of course, you'll see John McMullen on the live post-game show. As soon as the game concludes, log in right to the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Johnny Mack, Derek Gunn, Mark Farzetta, Devin Caney with a full recap live when the game concludes in Detroit. Johnny Mack, I hope there is good news today when we make it to the post-game show.
There's going to be good news for somebody.
Yes, sir.
Think of that way, Krause.
All right, good stuff from John McMullen for here on Football 24/7, our game day edition of Football 24/7, all presented by Stateside Vodka. Again, go to statesidevodka.com, use that keyword JAKIB, and get 15% off of the Stateside Vodka soda, as many people, many subscribers are doing and enjoying. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Don't forget, right back here at halftime from Ford Field, we'll get the very latest from John McMullen. And then again, as I mentioned, the live post-game show coming up on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Derek Gunn, Mark Farzetta, Devin Caney, John McMullen from Ford Field, and maybe another special guest or two along the way. But all of that coming up when the game concludes in Detroit. See you next time, everybody.